Okay, so why Debbie is Invincible's strongest human? I can already tell from the title this is going to be an amazing video. So let's watch and see.
Debbie is a very honest character. She's a normal human being. No Viltrumite powers, no secret government enhancements, just a typical suburban mom who happened to marry a superhero and give birth to another one. But while from a power scaling perspective, Debbie definitely isn't topping any charts, from a narrative perspective, her being a normal human being just adds so much to her.
Because she's the reason why Nolan even feel these emotions. She's the reason why Nolan could even doubt his Viltrumite DNA, his genetics in the first place. Like, now that I think about it, Debbie is the emotional support for all these heroes. Mark, Oliver, Nolan. She's the anchor. If she goes, honestly, now that I think about it, is like, if Debbie was to go, right? What I mean by go, if she was to die, then like seriously, I don't think any other hero, like I don't think Mark, Oliver, Nolan, they could make it in life. Like I don't think they'll be able to function. I don't know, maybe Mark because he has Eve, maybe, but it's gonna take a long time, because she's truly the anchor of all these characters. Like sure, heroes are the ones out there saving the world, but even they need emotional support. Heck, we seen with Mark, heroes need therapy too. Like he really taught me that. And if you noticed, right, as the seasons move forward, the less time Mark spends with his mother, the more insane he gets. The more he loses his mind, the more the trauma consumes him, right? I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it seems like it. Because this season, I don't think he really spent much time with his mother, like one on one, mother and son combo. Like, truly, I think Oliver honestly spent way more time with Debbie than Mark. And that's probably why Oliver this season seems like he's more emotionally in control and a lot less reckless than he was last season. And it could also explain why Mark is a little bit more reckless and becoming more Viltrumite like in this season as well, because Debbie is the person that brings out the human elements in everybody, regardless if they're actually humans or they're from outer space and a totally different species. She knows how to bring out the human elements in anybody, in anything. That's literally her superpower right there.
If you go back and watch season 1 of the show, you can see how much Debbie loves Nolan. They share so many intimate conversations and moments with each other. They talk about hero work, selling houses, and just bantering like a normal couple would. It was a beautiful illusion, and it was shattered just like that. To Debbie, Nolan...
That's crazy, man. I have to look back at season 1 Debbie and see the actual growth and changes in her character. Is honestly, it's been so long ago that all I know is post-traumatic Debbie. And she's done an amazing job, like despite her family home being broken and her whole reality being shattered. Like despite all the chaos, everything that's happened, she always kept her morality, kept her values. Like, think about it. Her love for Mark never changed. She never viewed him as like, oh, these are traits from your father, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, she always viewed Mark as an individual. Look at Oliver, even though she's not related to Oliver and Oliver is related to, of course, Nolan. She never viewed Oliver as like, oh, this is my husband's mistake. And like she never viewed Oliver through the eyes of seeing him as Nolan. And that takes real strength. And I truly believe that's part of the reason why she's honestly the strongest human in the world, at least mentally and emotionally when it comes to handling traumatic situations.
We would see the emotional aftermath of all of this in season 2, when we meet a Debbie that is a shell of her former self. The love of her life is gone. The only person alive who links her to him, her son Mark, has thrown himself into fighting crime. Debbie's perfect life has been shattered beyond repair. And as you can imagine, she has no idea what to do or who to go to. It's when Olga, the late Red Rush's lover, comes to comfort her that she finally gets some much needed solace. Because at this point in the story, she has nobody to talk to about her situation. Because how could she? Who in the world could possibly understand what Debbie was going through? To have the love of her life murder thousands simply because he could, while nearly murdering their own son. Olga then directs her to a support group for partners of fallen heroes.
Damn, I forgot that Debbie went to therapy too. I mean, it makes sense. Like, she's the therapist. Like I was saying earlier, she's like the therapist for everybody else, but who's the therapist for the therapist? You know what I mean?
And you have to try and understand what Debbie's going through, because at this point in the story, what does she even have? A husband that left her like she was nothing? A son who's becoming increasingly distant? A job where she's questioning her worth at? Debbie was a woman with no purpose, mission, or identity.
Damn. When you put it that way, that is insane. Like, I was saying in season 4 that Nolan is making the biggest comeback, the biggest redemption arc of all time. If you think about Debbie's situation, everything she lost back in season 1 and how it affected her throughout the rest of the seasons, she done so well for herself, especially for someone with no powers, not too many people to lean on. And I'm starting to think how much influence, I shouldn't say influence, but how much support did Paul give that really helped Debbie? Because it probably what sparked the relationship between Debbie and Paul in the first places. You know, Paul was just there in Debbie's darkest moments. And of course, he's one of the only people she knew that wasn't just supernatural or part of the supernatural world at all. So I wonder if that's going to be mentioned in this video. But yeah, Debbie truly had one of the greatest, not redemption, but one of the greatest comebacks from a down point, like a low point in life. And she truly did it like without needance of Mark or like having like a big storyline of, you know, Mark having to do something, or it wasn't like a major focus that, oh, something drastic has to happen to have her regain herself again. Of course, we've seen scenes of her growth, but it's always been her figuring it out and not really like relying too much on someone else coming to save her. But honestly, I don't really remember the times, like the first initial times when Paul was speaking to Debbie. I don't really remember those conversations, so maybe Paul did save her at the time, but that'll be mentioned in the video if I missed it.
But in raising Oliver, Debbie finds purpose again. When Cecil asks for Oliver to be handed over to the GDA, Debbie stands her ground and says that she's capable of being a mother to the child and raising him right. After all, she's the one who raised Invincible, who has saved the world multiple times at this point in the story. And while she does claim that her raising Oliver isn't about her, I don't think that's entirely true. Debbie has grown fond of being a mother again, so
I never thought of that either. Like how much Oliver's existence helped Debbie in her growth and development. Yeah, I could see that.
and what makes Debbie so strong is that she's willing to fight for that love and stand her ground in the face of danger for it. Remember at the beginning of this video where I talk about how Debbie is just a normal middle-aged woman? Well, in this season, she opposes both Cecil, one of, if not the most powerful human beings on the planet as the director of the GDA, and Angstrom Levy, an interdimensional, hyper-intelligent supervillain. And in the face of the former, to protect Oliver, her adopted son, and the reason for her to live, she stares down and spits cold lines in the face.
Those are her coldest moments. Like those are her defining character moments that like made me realize, yeah, she's the one. She's one of the greatest feminine, motherly characters in all of fiction. Literally this moment right here. And when he said earlier about Debbie finding purpose through giving love, that makes sense. Debbie is the representation of love, the love frequency, wanting the best for everybody. Because, like I said, she's the anchor of every hero in her life. She's the reason why Oliver's able to keep going. She's the reason why Mark is able to keep going, well, until Eve came into the picture. But, you know, for the most part, she's definitely the reason why Nolan found purpose and a reason to live again. Because remember, he said that he wanted to see his wife again. He missed his wife. She gave him purpose to keep moving forward. And that's because that's her superpower. Emotional support and giving love.
She wants Oliver to have a more normal childhood instead of him going straight into superhero work despite the emergence of his powers. And after seeing what superheroing has done to her son Mark, it's understandable why she doesn't want a much younger Oliver to enter such a dangerous life just yet. But she also understands that both of her sons feel a calling towards heroism. And just like with Mark, she doesn't hold Oliver back, instead supporting him in becoming a hero by having Mark train him. And when Oliver murders the Maulers, it's Debbie who talks to him about it and gives him a more grounded human perspective on the value of life.
You know, that is another thing. Yes, she's against putting her people that she loves in danger, but she never ever deters them from their purpose. That's what really makes her an amazing character. She's very supportive, maybe a little bit protective at times, but she never lets that motherly anxiety cause her to like stop Mark or Oliver to fulfill their purpose or to fulfill a bigger duty. Because, of course, Earth needs them, the universe needs them. And she understands that. So, honestly, that's really one of the major separating factors, at least for me, between her and a lot of other motherly fiction characters.
She's killing it at her job, she's found love again, and she's raised two wonderful young men who save lives on a regular basis. And when Paul raises the idea of her selling their houses so they can move in together officially, she even agrees. All of this combined shows that despite everything that she's been through, Debbie's in a healthy spot and she's finally ready to completely let go of her past and move on to a better future.
Until the past enters the present, what happens then?
In any other show, Debbie might have just relapsed and taken him back and they might have been a couple again, but as we all know, Invincible isn't just any other show. Debbie stands her ground and calls Nolan out because his words and apologies can't just bring back the lives he ended for no reason, nor can they undo the pain that he's caused her family. She calls him out on his apology as if it fixes any of the damage that he's done. And that's a very stark contrast to previous scenes.
Facts. Like, Nolan didn't put that into his calculations that this is different. Like, this Debbie ain't no one you remember in season one. She's grown. She lived life without you. Like, Debbie's reaching her final form, and Nolan wasn't ready for that. He was not ready for that.
She punches him despite it causing her knuckles to bleed and refuses to let him help her afterwards. And narratively, it shows how Debbie was hurt by Nolan even if he never directly tried to. And her telling him to leave after the confrontation shows that Debbie can now handle herself and that she can heal without him being.
That was a final like, yo, I don't need you. I've grown past you. At this point, season 4, I wasn't really thinking about you like that. Well, she was a little bit. If you remember when Oliver was like getting his costume prepared and all that. But still though, like at this point, like he said, she found new love. Oliver helped her out a little bit, raising a new child. She still had Mark around. Like in her mind, Nolan was about to be in the past to never return. And you know what's an interesting thought I had? I feel like throughout all the drama, not the drama, throughout all the fighting against the Viltrumites, I feel like in Nolan's mind, he'd rather get one-shotted by Thrags than hear the harsh words from Debbie. I swear those words from the woman he loves hurts way more than Thrags like thrusting through his chest and leaving him near death, right? Like, I promise you, psychological damage lasts forever. Like, at least physically, you could just like die off in peace, but psychological damage, nah, that leaves a memory, that leaves a stain that Nolan is probably going to remember for like centuries. Honestly,
There. And as her final request before her boys go to war for the fate of the world, she asks for a simple dinner with the people she loves most. A dinner without Nolan.
that's growth. I really like this breakdown of season 1 to season 4 Debbie and the progress in between each season. Because some things I just forgot, didn't really remember as much. But now looking back, thinking back about those moments is like, yeah, this is all calculated. Like this is all intentional growth. And she actually had one of the better growth in terms of characters within this show and in all of fiction, honestly. Like she went through her training arc emotionally. Like when everyone thinks about training arcs, we think about becoming faster, stronger, more intelligent, battle IQ, agile, more stamina, more determined, having like a calm nature next time, you know? We think of all those things. But what about these types of training arcs? Emotional growth, overcoming trauma, maintaining values despite everything going against it. That's a training arc right there as well. And honestly, there should be more shows with that type of training arc because more characters need that. Honestly, more than just getting physically stronger.
And that's why I think that Debbie Grayson is Invincible's strongest human. Because it takes a monumental amount of strength to look at the person who once loved you, but also hurt you beyond repair, and to choose yourself and walk away.
Facts. Facts. But yeah, amazing video, honestly. That's I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your name. Jock? I hope I'm saying your name right. But yeah, amazing video. I love it. Leave your comments down below what you feel about Debbie and her character growth. How do you feel about who she was in season 1 to who she is in season 4? Is she your favorite character in the show? I know she's my favorite female character in all of fiction. I know that for sure. There's no debate in that. But yeah, let's have a discussion in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.